Hi everyone, welcome again to today's study, and we have moved on from obedience. We're looking at stewardship properly. Our character today is Moses. We're looking into Numbers 12 and Deuteronomy 34. First of all, this new movie that's trending is Prophet Suddenly, part 3. I saw it with my husband 3 days ago, I think. That movie, Pastor Gideon Bass' part as a covering over James the singer, it literally opened my eyes to how I shouldn't speak carelessly over the people that God has entrusted to my care. You have different kind of flock. People can be very annoying, especially when you decide they want to start interceding for someone. That's when they provoke you. I saw, not like I didn't know, because most of us will already know that once you're covering, the spirit is off, you're already under an attack and you can be ruined. We know that. But seeing it graphically in that movie was disheartening. I realized that, okay, so if I spoke against someone that the Lord has put in my care and made me a covering over, if I said those kind of things like I'm leaving them to their fate or any of those negative things because of their bad behavior, I'm automatically giving the devil the permission to destroy them. I don't see how that's going to bring me any kind of pleasure in this life. And again, not to brag, but I have a lot of respect for my father, Archbishop Peter. I've seen people do all sorts to my dad. I've seen people do all sorts. He's never the type to curse. He's never the type to speak in anger. He will just keep quiet. And I've also seen how God fights for him, especially because he didn't say nothing. He didn't speak or do all of those things. But the Lord would deal with such people. Like when you start hearing what's up, you'll be like, oh my God, oh my God. And I've also seen him go back to the Lord and beg and say, God, please, I know it's for my sake you're doing this, but it's okay. Show mercy, do this. And that God would help. You see here, I will see that person gets better or that person and all of that. So it's not like, how will I put it now? On stewardship, because we're looking at Moses, a leader, right? On stewardship, I wanted us to see that you don't always have to try to defend yourself or because you have the power, speak against, the people that God has put under your care. It does not make sense for you to do that because at the end of the day, it's like everything you've built, you give it to the enemy to destroy it on your behalf just because you are responding in anger. In Numbers chapter 12, we saw Miriam and Aaron saying to Moses, it's not just you that God speaks to us. They were trying to claim fellow senior prophets with Moses. And we saw how God, without Moses even talking, God instantly gave Miriam leprosy. It was now Moses that was begging. You see that attitude of this person is not just that she's my sister. Yes, she's also my prophetess. She's also my, she's whatever she is in the structure that God gave Israel. She was also important. But Moses, as a shepherd, did not want Miriam destroyed. Miriam could have had that leprosy forever. But God was like, okay, she's going to have it for 7 days at least. Because if her father has spat in her face, she will not be, she'll still have to go out in shame. So I'm still going to do this. That was God defending Moses, honoring Moses' integrity. I saw how Moses stewarded his leadership. I also want to ask us to, as a leader that you are, in any capacity, especially those who are parents. Sometimes we always think about, as ministry people. As a parent, your child will be annoying. Your child will do things. How are you going to speak over them? How are you going to respond when you say things? Are you going to say, your whatever negative word, and then especially the word of, I hand you over to the devil, or whatever it is that we think, no matter what the person has done, we must not join the devil to destroy. We always have to think about building. And Moses stewarded his authority in that Miriam situation. I learned from that. Okay, then that's why I brought the Prophet Suddenly experience. Look at the damage it did to James's life when Pastor Gideon just said, okay, I've had enough. Because he has made the choice again. Because it was from a place of pain that his covering said that. A place of pain. Yes, in as much as we need to be careful how we relate with our fathers, we have to make sure that we are honoring them, or our mothers. We have to make sure that we're giving them the honor due them. But the gospel truth remains that even if no matter how perfect the child wants to be, they will definitely make mistake. And if you as the parent decide that you're going to abandon them, that's fine. If that child did that thing, not to spite you, because there's an intentional, I want to spite or dishonor. It was an unintentional one. The child did that and it hurt you. You should be able to call and communicate, not sit down in your house, discuss with your other spouse or discuss with your whatever friends, some of us actually discuss things like that with our spouses. You discuss it with them, your spouse probably doesn't even understand the dimension of where that child is coming from or why that person did that. Even the person doesn't know why he or she did that. You just sit down there and terminate whatever it is you feel like God has ordered you or ordained you to do. And then you want to get a better situation. In those cases, God does not allow that child to be destroyed. That's the truth. God will always, set up a covering, some way, somehow for that person. So it's a two-way thing. God looks out for the leader. God looks out for the child. But anyone that is intentionally about dishonoring, there's always a repercussion. Keyword, not intentional. But we're looking at ourselves as leaders. We have to keep a forgiving heart. We have to make sure that we steward the people that God has put under us, in the sense that you will not cooperate with the devil to destroy them, conscious or unconscious. I want us to look at that and see how we can do better going forward. I'll see you tomorrow.